So today I'm going to be talking about cash flow. Given we're building NFT projects that we're going to be linking to assets that produce cash flow, you guys are probably going to, be wondering, okay, like what is your plan? You build the NFT, you write the code, what next? So I'm going to walk you guys through the process that my mind kind of went through as far as, how do I build a portfolio of businesses that are secure, that are long lasting, and that are scalable. So just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, the first taste that I had in business was with sales. I worked for a company called Vector Marketing. Many of you guys may have heard of. They essentially are a sales force for selling knives for Cutco. So I did that for a summer. I didn't really click with the people in the group. Great people, just wasn't for me. So I ended up shifting and pivoting towards learning about trading, foreign exchange trading. Now, I thought it was really fun, just given I like finding patterns and it's pretty quick as far as knowing whether you're right or wrong. But there was no genuine value that I provided to somebody else. For me to make money, somebody had to lose money. So at one point, it had been a couple years essentially of me, trading and blowing accounts. Albeit my living situation was pretty stressful and I didn't have any steady source of income. I was either making some money with trading or I was blowing my money and having to start from scratch. So, at one point in late 2022, I start thinking, okay, I've been doing this for years now. I need to pivot. I need to figure out something that I can at least use to produce money while I'm learning the skill and building the discipline. So I had worked for other people before. I didn't really like the fact that there wasn't any real security. If you get fired, there's your income. I didn't like the fact that if I chose to leave, all that work that I had spent building somebody else's company is now gone, and I'm having to start from square one again. So for me, I wanted to find a business that I could build or at least take over where I was able to provide value to people. I was able to scale it. I was able to automate it. So I don't always have to be the one working the business. And it is something that is strong, something that will be here long term. Statistics wise, most businesses fail. 45% of businesses fail within their first year, 65% of businesses fail within their first 10, and less than 5% of businesses ever make over $1 million in annual revenue per year. So, the numbers aren't too great as far as all the businesses that are available. You can make money in a million different ways, but as far as how many of those different ways are fitting the criteria that I was looking for, I knew I needed to narrow down my options. So I had remembered something from psychology class called the Maslow hierarchy of needs. See if we can get a good little photo here. So essentially, within the model that Maslow framed out, there is a pyramid structure of needs that for a human to feel fully fulfilled, fully happy with their existence, each of these needs need to be met. And as you ascend the pyramid, it becomes increasingly difficult to reach levels of fulfillment if the lower needs are not met initially. So during the time, it was late 2022 going into 2023, everybody was talking about a recession. Everybody was worried that the economy was slowing down, money wasn't being spent as freely. And my mind was thinking, I need to find something that, regardless of whether, money's good or money's tight, people will still want to buy my product. So the first place I had looked on the pyramid was at the very base. I knew regardless of the economy's condition, people are going to need to get their psychological needs met. So, we've got air, we've got water, we've got food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Now, this isn't meet the Lorax, right, where we're selling air. I wanted to just look at the bare essentials, right? Shelter, food, and water, what people need to live. Now, shelter that goes into real estate, and I knew real estate was something I wanted to get into within the next 10 years, but it didn't feel like that was going to be the initial starting point. So then I thought, well, water, but the system of having a water business, it's just going to be a lot of logistics. I'm going to need some startup capital, more than I had available. And so I then turned to my third, which was food. Now, shortly after kind of reviewing, okay, which of these needs would make the most sense to build a business around, and I settled with food, I started exploring. I come across something called microgreens. Now, microgreens are essentially baby plants where, whether it's broccoli, radish, sunflower seeds, once the seed sprouts, all the nutrients that it needs to develop into a full grown plant is in that sproutling. And so we harvest the sprouts within 7 to 10 days of them actually germinating, them growing through our process. So given they have all the nutrients that needs to be a full grown plant, but it's, a fraction of the size, it's extremely nutrient dense. The cost is extremely low to produce, especially compared to its full grown counterparts. And, as far as a business model goes, it's a relatively low startup cost. You can buy all of the materials and equipment that you need to start the business for under $1,000. So for me personally, this made the most sense to look into as far as a business to start working with. So that is why I'm exploring the option of using a microgreens business kind of as like a proof of concept for our smart contracts. So once I have the microgreens business producing cash flow, producing revenue, I can distribute that with the smart contracts. Now, the cool thing with microgreens is given it's such a low cost to actually, start and maintain the business, there's relatively high profit margins. Let's say you spend 750 to get your first production unit set up and running. One production unit, which would be one rack that will hold 20 trays, and every 7 to 10 days you can harvest a new cycle of microgreens that you can then sell at markets. You can sell that, pretty much anywhere. My thoughts are if I do end up going this route, I'm going to be starting with, restaurants, markets, preferably local markets, obviously. And then I'm also going to be exploring the option of working with nonprofits. I worked with some of these organizations before, and I noticed, especially the ones who provide affordable food, they're buying cheap bread, really cheap meat, but there's like no greens except for, lettuce just because it's affordable, but there's no nutritional value. So microgreens, it's cheap and there's high nutritional value. So that's kind of where my thought process is with this. But essentially, grow every 7 to 10 days, you harvest, you're able to start a new cycle. So you should be able to go through at least 3 cycles a month. And each cycle, if one tray is producing 25 dollars worth of microgreens to harvest, well, you can just do the math on that. 25 times 20 times 3, that'd be about 1,500 bucks. So as far as profit margins go, a lot of revenue that can be produced by that specific business model. And so that was what I was looking at initially. But if you look at a lot of the most essential businesses on earth, a lot of them, to one degree or another, they play on the strings of each of these needs. Whether you're looking at the very basics, the things that BlackRock owns, like a bunch of real estate, a lot of the food companies, or if you're looking more at tech companies who may be more so playing at, things that make humans feel good about each other. To one degree or another, they are focusing on this pyramid. Now, there's a step that goes even deeper to this. Any business, regardless of whether you're looking at tech or the bare essentials with food, water, and shelter, you need time, knowledge, resources, and connections. So if you're a construction worker, company that you're working for, you're providing your time in the form of labor. Somebody's providing the knowledge, like a project manager to oversee. Companies providing the resources. So, the material, they're paying you so that you can have access to food. They're going to have, machinery that needs energy, oil, electricity to run. And then they're going to need the connections to actually sell the real estate once it's built, as well as just, finding who is going to actually be the ones putting together the real estate itself. You need each of these four aspects to one degree or another for every single business. So whether you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs or you focus on these different areas of systemization, it's very, very attainable to build a business, to build a portfolio of businesses that not only are successful, but are scalable and long lasting. So by learning how to use each of these four pillars in conjunction together, that's how you can really build value and provide value as far as meeting each of these needs for different people. You look at utilizing both time and knowledge together. Naturally, you're going to gain experience and you're going to be able to build wisdom. You're going to know and understand how things work the longer that you've spent analyzing the data and learning the skills behind it. Next, knowledge and resources. If you're the one in control of the resources, you're the one making the decisions. So by utilizing both resources and knowledge together, you can coordinate projects like building, apartments, building cities. If you look at time and resources, you need this to produce things. So, even if you have the know-how, you're going to need to incorporate some form of labor, whether that's through machinery, through people to, produce products to provide value. Connections and time, this is honestly the most important pillar to focus on. If you water those connections with time, you'll build relationships that can later provide greater access to more resources. And then finally, by leveraging knowledge and connections, knowledge and resources, that is the essence of power. Power supersedes money. Money is temporary, but power is long lasting. You'll see the remnants of power long past the money is dried up. So again, if you learn how to apply each of these pillars of wealth, to grow and provide value to other people, that's how you can, accomplish success in almost any business that revolves around these needs. So essentially, that's what we're looking to do. We are looking to focus on core human needs to increase the quality of life for people by leveraging, each of those four pillars, our time, our knowledge, our resources, and our connections to be able to achieve our goals. These are long-term goals as far as building this portfolio of businesses, but the end goal, the end game plan is to use these businesses to be able to provide a greater quality of living for human beings in our society. A lot of businesses nowadays, they're built around vices. They're built around things that we don't actually need. And I think as people learn to focus more on what's important, their health, their relationships, their money, naturally they're going to see a progression in their lives for the better. And if they keep at it, not only will they see it in their own lives, but they'll see it in others as well. So that'll be today's video, and I will see you guys on the next one.